So, a very, very short beginning to the service. If you've been coming for the last few weeks, you will know that we've been following an Advent sermon series based and inspired by Charles Dickens' short story, A Christmas Carol. Does anybody tell me how many ghosts we've met so far? Does anybody know? Somewhere between 1 and 100. How many? 2? Nope. Nope. 4. Very good. Yeah, we've met 4. Ghost of Christmas past, present, yet to come, and of course, his old partner, Marley. Why have we been doing this? Well, in 1843, Charles Dickens wrote the foreword to the book. And this is what he says. This is why he wrote it. It would be my endeavor this morning, as we think upon this Christmas season, to raise to life from the Bible our Christmas past, Christmas present, and Christmas future. Christmas holds for each of us a past that must be faced, a present that must be lived, and a future that must be longed for. And it affected society greatly. Such was the impact of this little short story, which was so widely read, that the Scottish novelist Margaret Oliphant wrote this: "A Christmas Carol moved us all those days ago as if it had been a new gospel." Such was the impact that this little story had on Christian lives, on the lives of those people that lived in society. It popularized the phrase Merry Christmas. It wasn't a thing before then. To wish somebody Merry Christmas came from A Christmas Carol. Words like bah humbug was invented by Dickens. Scrooge as a concept was invented by Dickens. Charitable giving went up after the publication of this book. Such an effect one little story had. It was indeed almost like a fresh take on the gospel. And I hope that you've been struck by the similarities of this modern day parable to our own world and our own lives. The story concludes today. Terrified and promising that he would change, Scrooge falls asleep after the last ghost, and he wakes up when the clock strikes 9, and he jumps up and he throws open the windows and he shouts to a young boy passing by. He says, "Boy, what day is it?" And the boy looks up and he says, "It's Christmas Day." And he says this: "Christmas Day, it's not too late." And it's not too late. He has completely changed. And he goes to see his nephew with a whole bunch of presents for everybody. He pays a huge sum to charity to make up for all this previous meanness. And then Scrooge buys a turkey and takes presents to Bob Cratchit's home. And like all good parables, there is a moment when it makes sense to everybody, even my sermon. So, can I please have Tiny Tim and Bob Cratchit? We're back in Christmas present. And as we met Bob Cratchit and Tiny Tim a few weeks ago, Tiny Tim is struggling with ill health because the family is struggling with poverty. And they have really no hope. Life is getting worse and worse, but they are fervently working hard. And then suddenly, a life changed by Christmas past, accepting the gift of Christmas present and all of the Christmas presents yet to come. Scrooge appears at Bob Cratchit's home. And on the way, he buys presents and food for the family. And he goes and he meets with them. And Scrooge changes so much because of Christmas that he comes in, he gives them the presents, he doubles Bob's salary, and he helps out the struggling family so much that Dickens says this: Scrooge was better than his word. He did it all and infinitely more. And to Tiny Tim, who did not die, he became a second father. He became as good a friend and as good a master and as good a man as the good old city of London knew, or any other good old city or town or borough in the good old world. And it was always said of Scrooge that he knew how to keep Christmas well, if any man alive possessed the knowledge. Oh, and he also bought a turkey on the way so that they could have Christmas dinner. The last word, or one of the last words that Dickens has, is the reason for this story, is the reason for the change in Scrooge. Dickens says this: Scrooge went to church. So that morning, taking Tiny Tim with him, Scrooge and Bob went to watch a nativity service in his local church.